Have you ever heard that the richest man in history had a net worth of $100 trillion and killed nearly 10% of the world's population? In this video, let's know about the richest men in history. Number 10. William the Conqueror. Often considered one of the most influential figures in British history, William the Conqueror, the first king of England, accumulated a jaw-dropping fortune estimated to be around $228 billion in today's money. His rise to power began when he successfully invaded and claimed the British throne in 1066 at the age of 38. His wealth didn't come from modern-day business or trade, but largely from the taxes he ruthlessly imposed on the peasants of Normandy and massive payments from local barons in England, who were eager to keep their land and their lives intact. Number 9. Osman Ali Khan. Osman Ali Khan, the last ruler of Hyderabad, India, presided over this princely state from 1911 until 1948. Ali Khan is remembered as the wealthiest Indian who ever lived, with an estimated fortune of $230 billion. His wealth came largely from Hyderabad's monopoly on the diamond trade, as it was home to the world's only active diamond mine at the time. The Nizam invested heavily in the welfare of his people, building infrastructure like electricity grids, railways, roads, and even an airport. Number 8. Nicholas Romanov. Nicholas Romanov, the last Tsar of Russia, might not have been the best ruler, as his reign directly led to the Russian Revolution and the rise of communism. But when it came to personal wealth, he did quite well for himself. By the time of his downfall in 1917, Nicholas had a fortune worth $300 billion. One significant contributor to his wealth was the sale of Alaska to the United States, a transaction he made without knowing just how rich in resources the territory would become. Number 7. John D. Rockefeller. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, John D. Rockefeller became a symbol of American wealth and industry, earning an estimated $1.5 trillion over his lifetime. As the founder of Standard Oil, Rockefeller controlled 90% of the U.S. oil market, a near monopoly that made him the world's richest man at the time. By the time of his death, his net worth had been estimated at $400 billion. Number 6. Mansa Musa. Ruling in the 14th century, Mansa Musa, the Emperor of Mali, is often considered the wealthiest person in history, with an adjusted fortune of $415 billion. When Musa came to power in 1312, much of Europe was in famines, wars, and plagues, but his empire thrived thanks to abundant natural resources, particularly gold. His conquest of the city of Timbuktu made it a crucial trade hub, enriching his empire further. In 1324, Musa set on a pilgrimage to Mecca that has become legendary. His caravan stretched as far as the eye could see and included thousands of camels carrying tons of gold. Number 5. King Solomon. In terms of biblical figures, King Solomon stands out as one of the wealthiest rulers ever. The Bible describes Solomon's wealth as unmatched, with annual tributes of gold totaling 25 tons every year for 39 years, which modern scholars estimate would amount to $2.2 trillion. His immense wealth allowed him to build the first temple of Jerusalem and amass riches that are hard to fathom even today. Number 4. Augustus Caesar. Augustus Caesar was the first Roman emperor, who is said to have had a personal fortune worth $4.6 trillion. Much of Augustus' wealth came from the conquest and personal ownership of Egypt, which at the time supplied half of the Roman Empire's grain. He was not only rich but also strategic in spending, using his vast resources to build roads, monuments, and temples across the empire. He even paid for lavish public entertainments like gladiator games and chariot races. Number 3. Akbar I. During the 16th century, Akbar the Great, ruler of the Mughal Empire, controlled an estimated 25% of the world's GDP, giving him a fortune valued at $21 trillion. Akbar's empire stretched across the Indian subcontinent, and he was known for his opulence. He built 3 luxurious palaces and filled them with gold, silk, and exquisite art. Number 2. Shenzong. Shenzong, who ruled China between 1067 and 1085, presided over one of the most prosperous periods in Chinese history. With an empire that controlled over 30% of the world's GDP, Shenzong's wealth is estimated to have been around $30 trillion. Number 1. Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was famous for his brutality, yet he managed to accumulate an empire and wealth valued at over $100 trillion. His conquests across Asia and Europe were so vast that he controlled half the known world at one point. Despite his unimaginable riches, Genghis Khan redistributed much of his wealth to his people. Here's a quick question. Isn't it true that the richest people presented to us are actually just a fraction of what the hidden ultra-rich are worth?